Dumelang Sanibonan. Welcome to Widow's Wisdom, the vodcast series where we create safe, honest, and empowering space for women to share their stories. We hope their stories give you strength as they share lessons they've learned during life's difficult journey. I am your host, Nomfundo, and today we're talking about the first 48 hours. Phew. You've just found out your husband is gone, and almost immediately the world starts asking things of you. Who do you call? What do you sign? How do you make decisions when you can barely breathe? Well, in this episode, brought to you by the Daily Sun, in partnership with AVBOB, we're going to bring some clarity to the chaos. We are joined by Vusi Dladla, Area Manager, Funeral Service at AVBOB, who is going to walk us through what needs to happen in those first critical hours. And we also have a very special guest, Lindiwe Mothemane, a woman who has lived through this, who stood in that exact moment and found her way through it. We are so grateful and honored that she is here to share her story with us today. Siyabonga, Mam Lindiwe Mothemane, kutube khona nathi namhlanje. I listened to your voice note and it just moved me. You lost your husband during COVID, which was a very difficult time for a lot of people, uncertainty, fear. Take us back to a time and what you were going through as you found out that you've lost your husband.
Greetings to the viewers at home. It started on the 7th, if I recall very well, of August in 2020. It was a Friday afternoon. We just went to buy grocery with one of my daughters. And for the first time in my life, I lost my phone. That day, I've never lost a phone in my life. And we came back. Then I had to go to one of the phone shops to go and replace the phone. So on our way there, then my husband started complaining about headache. And I said, no, it's because you are hungry. We haven't eaten anything since the morning. We just wanted to do this replacement and came back. So we got home, I made food, and then we ate. I gave him 2 Panados. He slept, and then he was okay. Following day, it's a Saturday, it's a Sunday. We were doing online church at that particular time. There were no physical contacts. And then later he says, I've got a headache again. And I'm like, no, but you slept it away. Then I gave him 2 Panados. Then he was okay. Then it comes. So it was that long weekend, the 9th, the Women's Day. So we're starting to go to work. Then Tuesday morning, there was no power. So, if you are a farm girl like myself, you've got those 3 food pots. I go outside, I make water for everyone. Then I come back, I found him sleeping, and I'm like, hi, dude, you're still sleeping, the water is going. He said to me, I'm feeling dizzy. I was like, So we took him to the doctor, and the doctor was so hesitant. He was like, no, I don't think it's COVID. I'm like, also, I don't know. But he said, you know what, let's admit him. It's not common that he will have COVID. Goes to hospital, boom, results, they come back positive. Sure. They tested all of us were negative. And then I went to see him for the first time. And then when I went in, he could still talk. He was in ICU, and then he spoke to me. A week later, then they called me. And then they said to me, come and see your husband. Then I went. It was a Saturday afternoon. He was heavily sedated, like he couldn't move. Then I went there and I spoke to him. To my surprise, he could move. He tried to move. So the nurses, they said to me, why are you forcing him to speak? And I'm like, I'm not forcing anyone to speak. He's the one who wants to speak. Yeah. It's a Saturday. And I went home. And I told my daughters that, Daddy's coming home. That man is coming home. Come Sunday. Sunday, I got another call. They're saying to me, the doctors want to see you. And then there was a lady from church. We haven't met each other because we're no longer doing physical interaction. She said to me, I want to come to your house. I said to her, I'm going to the hospital. When I'm on my way back, after I've taken off the clothes and I've bathed, I'll find you at home. Then I walked in. And then as I parked the car, she also came. And then I said, let me bath and do all the things. Almost from COVID, when you come in, the first place is the bathroom. You need to sort yourself out. And just there, and then I got a call from the hospital again. And the lady says to me, the doctors are saying we've done everything that we could. And And then she said to me, you actually have, he said to me, if your husband can make it in the next 10 minutes, then he's not going to die. We don't think he's going to last the next 10 minutes. Now, this lady is sitting on the sofa. And then I left her and I went to my bedroom and I started, and I said, I just knelt down and I said to God, listen, I'm not going to argue with you. Those were my exact words. I said, Lord, I'm not going to argue with you. You know what you want to do. So why do you put me through all these things that you're putting me through? If you want to heal this man, do it. If you want to take him away, also do it. Because it's back and forth with all these things. And when I finished, and my last words were, do what you think is best for me and my children. Then I got up. Then I went back to the lounge, and this lady is sitting there. I think as I said, a call came through. And then they told me her husband is no more. And now, the funny part is, during that 35 days, because he was in hospital only for 35 days. In that 35 days, I had decided I'm going to go on a prayer and fast for 21 days. And it was those fastings that you would do. I got it from the Bible app. It's written plans. It was say 21 days of breakthrough. And I'm on this prayer. While all these things are happening, I'm on that prayer. I remember on day 19, it was a Thursday, I woke up. Actually, I had a dream. And in a dream, it's me and my family. We are traveling in a taxi. So my mother had just bought a taxi. But now, we had a car accident. I'm wearing a greenish blanket. My other brother is there. My mother is there. But nobody died. But I'm looking at the road. The route is to my husband's place. And I'm asking myself, what's happening? Then I wake up the morning and I'm reading the devotion for that day. The first title was saying, losing a loved one. And I'm like, I wake up to this dream and this one. And the verse that was quoted there was saying, your mother and your father can forsake you, but the Lord will not forsake you. And the other one was saying, the troubles that you go through now, I think it's the book of 2 Corinthians 4:17 says, the troubles that you go through now, they are small, but nothing compared to the glory that you're going to receive. And I immediately called my mother and I said, I had this dream. Now I'm reading this devotion, this thing saying that to me, and my husband is in ICU. Shortly, then I started crying. My mother was like, no, nothing will happen. Then my sister-in-law calls. And she's like, no, we're checking how is brother-in-law doing. And I told him, my sister-in-law, she's a very panicky person. She dropped the call because she couldn't handle it. Then it's a Thursday. I have this dream. Sunday. And then my husband dies. And then reality hit. But looking back now, God was actually told me before that this man is going.
Yeah.
But I couldn't add 1 and a 1 to give me 2. It gave me 11, And then that's what happened. Now, funeral arrangements need to start from that moment.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for your loss. And it's been a few years, but that hurt is still there. I want to just go to that time where we're looking at the first 48 hours. You've got 3 small babies, 3 girls at home. It's a pandemic, so, movement is restricted and all of those things. I just want to know who was there for you in those first few days and how meaningful was that support initially from those that were around you?
Actually, it's amazing that my children were actually the first one to be to be available, because when I got a call, it was just the 4 of us in the house. And the last one shares a birthday with the father. So when I came back from the hospital, because I had called my brother, and then I had called my brother-in-law, and my brother asked me, where are you burying this man? Are you burying him here, or are you burying him in Limpopo? Because originally I said Limpopo, and then he said, are you sure? I said, yes. He said, is there no pressure? I said, no. So my children were the first people. Then my sister, because she had gone home, and she was just, as she said to me, I was just entering the yard when you called. She made a U-turn because she stays in Springs. Then I called my boss because I was supposed to hold interviews the following morning. And I had to tell her I'm not part of the panel anymore. She came with my HR, same time. Then 2 of my friends, they drove and they came. The amazing support was from the people from church. Like in a space of 10, 15 minutes, my house was full. Everybody wanted to do something. So there was a young lady who was a leader in the children's church. Immediately she walked in, she said, give me my kids. Because I haven't told them your father died. And then she went to my bedroom, and then she sat with the 3 of them. You know, I was on the other side of the house, and I just heard my elder daughter, my youngest one, the one who shares the birthday with the father, screaming. And I had to go now and see what's wrong. And she looked at me and said, you should have told us yourself. And I looked at her, and I was just, you should have told us yourself. It would have been better. Then she cried, and then she went to the other room. So during those 48 hours, people are coming in. My daughter stopped going to school, all 3 of them. You'll be so amazed. They were the ones serving people with tea. You know, would make sure the cups are ready, they are put there. So during the midweek services that would come, my daughters would make, let me not forget my brothers and my sisters and my helper. I had a very good helper. She made sure that kids are fine, that I am fine. That woman, I would never trade her for anything. So the support that I got from them, it made the burden a little bit lighter, because it was purely me, my sisters and my brothers who were able to actually carry that at that time.
I want to ask you about some of the fonder memories that you have of your husband, and maybe some of the things that trigger a memory of him and how he was. Can you tell us about that?
Over the years in our marriage was to identify one thing. I didn't have to identify a lot. One thing that has made me to, even if when we're fighting, there was this one thing that I always remembered, that after we got married, I stayed 5 years without babies. And on the actually 2 years, we didn't have babies. On the 3rd year, when I fell pregnant, the first baby was in the tube. So it had to be cut. And then I fell pregnant again. The baby was in the other tube that was remaining. Now, the doctor had to distract the pregnancy so that they can save this tube, so that I can still fall pregnant. 3rd pregnancy happened. The tube was saved. 3rd pregnancy happens on that very same tube again. Unfortunately, this time I was working in Sandton. It burst while I was on my way to home, coming from work. And you know the pressures that you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm in Ndebele. I'm married with cows and blankets, even for the people who are dead. You members, you still pop up those things. Yes. And money, you know. So the pressures, like, Oh, now she's here. We paid the cows, the blankets, the money. Where's the baby? One thing I would always remember, he never put me under pressure when all those things were happening. Even when he would make me so mad, when I remember that he stood, never uttered a single word pressurizing me, because all he could say was, God is the one that brings children. And the day these children came, that's why we call them rainbow babies. Because I felt pregnant, actually being sterilized, because both my tubes were cut. And medically, you can't have children when your tubes are cut. But God had to do a reconstruction of one of the tubes to be attached directly to my womb. So when I ovulate, the egg automatically goes to my womb. Then now, they said when the floodgates are open, it becomes difficult to close. Then the struggle was, how are we going to sterilize her now? She's going to have babies forever. Yeah. So that is one thing that I always would remember my husband for, the love for his children, the way he used to juggle around. Even the manner in which these children came to this world.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. Yeah, it's a difficult time to go through. And there is so much pressure on a widow to handle everything during the grief period, especially in our communities. How did you navigate that?
Sure. The first thing that needs to happen is you need to tell yourself that you have fulfilled your marriage vows, which says, till death do us part. You have passed the test. You never left. You have passed the test. Secondly, you need to know where to go in situations where nobody is there. Your husband has been here, your kids are here, but what happens in that moment when nobody is there? So for me, I had to run back to God and say, you know what, you have said you're going to do this, you're going to do. And also finding the people that will help you. Because during the time when my husband died, there was a strike from the undertakers there was a strike. Undertakers were complaining that the Department of Home Affairs, they are issuing things late. There was just a commotion. So the night that he died, when I called the undertaker that we've been subscribed to for years, they told me they've changed administration, so they won't help me. So they only issue cash. Then now I had to phone my mother and said, there's a local undertaker that is there. And, now they have to move from Mpumalanga to Gauteng to come and fetch him, because if they don't do that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a strike. Now I can't bury because I don't have money. I can't claim because I can't receive a death certificate because there's a strike, at Home Affairs. Then my sister and my brother, they sat with me. They said, you know what? We need to do something. When are you burying? I said, on Saturday. But you don't have a death certificate. How are you going to claim from your insurance policies? So they decided as a family, we're going to move money from all our savings. We're going to put it in your bank account. Whatever money that is needed, we're going to draw from there. Then we'll sort the rest, afterwards. Now, I would have to stand up from the mattress to go and sort out things and come back. So the pressure is saying, you need to bury your husband, but nobody ever sits back and asks you how are you actually feeling during this particular moment. Everybody is looking at you and saying, you need to be strong for the kids. I'm like, don't you think I'm doing that already? So but who's taking care of me, and things like that. So those pressures, they come in, but you need to know where do you go when things because I can't go to a restaurant and complain about fuel. They don't know anything about food. They are serving food. Let me ask them about food. So it's the moment where who do you cry to, but cry to the right place? Because you might cry, but you're crying to the wrong place. And then you're not going to get the help that you need.
Yeah. So you're doing all these arrangements, funeral arrangements, and navigating cultural challenges and getting support from a lot of people. What was the most difficult thing for you in that process?
I've already mentioned the other one, that there was no money, because everything else, the insurance people can't release money without a death certificate. So there was that delay of 3 days.
Yeah.
The other challenges is the realization that you are a widow. I remember when I went to Home Affairs, because I had to go and get my own death certificate. Usually the undertakers, they'll do it for you. But I went there myself. The guy at Home Affairs asked me a question and said, "Do you have your marriage certificate?" I said, "Yes." And then he said to me, "When I press the submit button, you will no longer be able to retrieve it anymore." I was like, "Okay, no, I do have it." And then he pressed the button. Immediately he switched the screen for me to see. When I saw the marital status automatically changing to widow, it was a shocker to me. And I said to him, "Is that it?" He said, "Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's what happened." Then while you are there, there's an estate that you need to start. This man is gone. The house is in both our names. And what pains me was they put your house as an asset, as if you are selling your house. But you need this house to stay in it, because if there are debts that are there, this house forms part of the assets that can be sold so that they can cover the debts. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now you're sitting here, you've got this house is still bonded. Now it's listed there. And then you go like, now what are you going to do? So there are a lot of paperwork that goes into, a person is easy when they are alive. But when the person they are gone, it's even more expensive. And you don't have a stash of cash sitting there to say, okay, just take and put there. The dragging of the estate that takes about you 2 to 3 years. And every time you are reminded that this person is not there. A lot of changes now. When you apply for school, admission at school, every time now you need to declare deceased. It's like a cloud that is forever hanging over you. You keep on saying, every time there must be a death certificate. Every time. When is it going to end? Stigma.
Yeah, it's difficult. And even in your situation, it's been almost 6 years, since your husband passed away. In this space of time, how do you spoke about your daughter being upset that you didn't tell her. How do you hold space for their grief while also grieving yourself? How do you manage that?
I had to look at things that I can do by myself in the absence of my husband. This is what I mean. You'll find as a couple, there are things that would have happened if both of you were still there. There are things that will never happen when the other one is no longer there. But oftentimes we tend to cling to things that, for an example, we wanted to build this jar. But the building of the jar was going to be possible if he was still here. Do I still want to pursue building the jar by myself, or I let the jar go and do something else? So what I do, I plan everything with my children, because they were in different grades. The other one goes to school on the north, the other one goes to school on the east, the other one is just here. So we plan together so that her commitments at school, my commitments between work and church and everything, they don't clash. So we plan together. We became accountable to each other. For an example, they know I need to be at home at a particular time. And then they'll say, "Mama, where are you? You're supposed to be home at this time." So we plan around those things, that when we sit down, we plan together. And also to give each other space to be able to vent. I allowed my children to talk about their father whenever they want to talk about their father. And you will know that they've actually passed that stage of grief when they tell you. My daughter will say to me, I ask a question, if Papa was to come back, what were you going to do? And she said to me, I don't want him to come back. And for me, I was like, hey, And then she was like, no, not in a bad way. If he comes back now, we're going to be all excited, only to find that he's only here for a short while. So he would rather not come back. He's fine where he is, and we are fine where we are. And I've noticed also on their birthdays, on his birthday, that they no longer worry. They'll even forget. They'll go, yo, it was his. They forget as compared to the other ones, other years where they'll do this. So that planning together, remaining accountable. And also they learn in the process that there are certain things that we could have done when Papa was here. But I remember my elder daughter one day saying, I think it was a good thing that Papa left. And I was like, why? And then she said to me, Mama, the relationship I'm having now with God wasn't going to be possible if Papa was here. And I've grown so much to be the person that I am. I think somewhere, somehow, I wasn't going to be able to do that if he was still around. So you allow them until the time it reaches to them to say, no, actually, we are fine. We can still do things the way we want to do. But it's not an easy journey. It needs you to always remember what is it that you want them to. Now, I mean, one is finishing matric. When his father passed away, he was just in grade 6, going into grade 7 or 8.
Yeah. So looking at the first 48 hours and your experience that you've had, maybe give me 3 things that you wish someone had told you in hindsight. So 3 things that would have helped you get through not only the 48 hours, but get through the grief period as well.
One is that the pain is real. The pain is so real that it moves from being an emotional pain to being a physical pain. Not only to a physical pain, it moves to financial issues also, social issues also. So that's the first thing. The second one is that people will leave. At the day of the funeral, when people say their goodbyes, they will tell you, I'm going to say it in my mother tongue, uzosala noNkulunkulu. In Sesotho they say, "Utla sala le Modimo." And literally, they don't understand what they mean. But literally, you'll remain with your God because people will be gone. So people will say, we'll come and see you after 5 days. There are people I haven't seen. In the 5 years, 8 months, my husband is, I haven't seen them. The last time I saw them was on the funeral. So you need to understand that people are going to leave. Right. People have got. The funeral is over. And I made an example about, before Jesus could go to the cross and be crucified. The Bible says, I think it's the book of Matthew 26. You read it from 32. He went and prayed 3 times. His disciples were sleeping. They were not in the terms for now, by a goa. Jesus was the only one going. These ones were resting. They didn't understand. So the people will go because they don't understand your exact pain. So don't be angry when people are leaving because they cannot fully understand the pain that you're going through. And the third one that I would always say is that you need to identify your strength of support. Who is going to be there for you when this man goes? There's a song I used to like by Joanna Matrading. It says, when that boy leaves and you've got no one to tend to, and then the song goes like, there's two kinds of love, so this person is here, but when that person leaves, and you've got no one, it actually says there's more than one kind of love. So don't cling to this person because that person one day is going to leave. And you've neglected all the people that at the time you need them the most, that would have been there. So identify those people that are going to be there. As you live your life, in your marriage life, don't abandon people thinking that wherever you are right now, you might not. Because people who've supported me, I remember my university friends that I haven't seen in a very long time, they came in. My ex-colleagues, they came in. So those are the 3 things. Pain is real. People are going to leave. never abandon the people that, identify those relationships that you know that they can keep you as you move on. Because those are the people that they're still sustaining me now. There's a lady who was my ex-colleague. You would not believe, in the entire 365 days of my husband's passing, she used to call me every day without fail. Every day she would call and find out, how are you guys? And there's one, I haven't worked for her. It's a small thing, but when you are in that moment, you need people like that. And she said to me, I just want you to have soft life. She brought the red cakes, the ultramel, she brought the strawberries, and we really had a soft life on that particular day, So it's the emphasis of saying, do not actually leave out, because people will come from all sorts of, they want to help you. So, but just remember that there are people. Also, don't abandon those important relationships.
That's amazing.
It was not my intention to make you cry.
There's a young woman watching this right now. They've lost their partner, they've lost their husband. And in-laws, cultural issues, challenges, they're going through a lot at the moment. What is the one message, just a brief message, that you can give to that person just to comfort them that you've gone through it and here you are sitting strong for your children as well? What can your message be to that person?
My message to that person is there are certain things in life that needs to happen. I quote the Bible a lot because that has become my favorite. It's my favorite go-to book. There are things that needs to happen in life so that scriptures must be fulfilled. Bible tells us that God is the father to the fatherless. He's the husband to the widows. So somebody must die for you to become a widow. Another child must lose a father for them to be called the fatherless. So there are scriptures that needs to be fulfilled. So don't beat yourself and say, maybe I've done something wrong and things like that. Secondly, you need to understand that for God to allow you to go through, God trusted you. God trusted you to carry this journey. Job was a righteous man. He feared evil. He did nothing wrong, but still he lost 10 children at a go. He lost everything that he had in a go. So what is important for the woman looking at me and saying, God is able not to replace, to restore. Because replacement you might figure out, but restore everything that is there. And you have fulfilled your vow, which says to death do us. And allow yourself to cry. Jesus went and cried and said, Father, if it is possible, let this come. So who are you thinking that we are not going to be able to cry? I mean, the one who holds, the earth on his shoulders. Ukhalile. So allow yourself to cry. The last one, allow me to say this. Never camp on grief. As widows, we tend to camp in our state of grief and not move. So never camp. Learn what you need to learn and move, because your husband, your children, and God himself wants you to move on. So never camp in the state of grief, because all the things that people would want to hear from you, they're not going to get them. You might be a one step away from saving another widow who was saying, you know what, I'm giving up, I'm killing myself. After I lost my husband, I joined the widows group. And in that group, 4 widows died because they couldn't handle the pain. So you might be one step, to helping another widow. But the problem is we camp and sit in the state of our grief and not move on. So don't camp. They must never camp. The community will speak. Whoever will say whatever they want to say. But do that thing, because there's a lot more that you can do and people can benefit. For an example, I joined the grief ministry at church. I'm the one comforting people. At times I cry with them. I'm supposed to comfort this one, but I find myself sometimes crying like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing so. But never camp in that state of grief, because you are dragging your healing. If possible, I would say heal and heal fast. But it's not possible for me to say heal and heal fast, because our journeys of grief are different. Yeah.
Absolutely. Siyabonga kakhulu sisi. Ngizokuwe. Vusidlala, Area Manager Funeral Service from AVBOB. People come to you at this time of grief. Let's just start at the very beginning. The moment a family realizes their loved one has passed, what is the very first call they should make, and why does it matter so much?
Okay, so I think for a lot of people, like Umama said, it's new to them, it's never happened to them. Then you contact our call center, or if you have a person that you know that you've taken out a policy with, and then they will direct you to the nearest branch of where you stay, or should I say, where is it convenient for you to do the funeral arrangements and stuff like that. And then they will alert us of the passing of the loved one. That then the details are handed over to the branch, which then contacts the family to ascertain where did the person pass away, a hospital, at home, and then they follow the procedures to do the removal of the loved one into our care. And then the family then visits our office the following day or whenever convenient for them to start doing the funeral preparations or arrangements.
So when you make that initial first call as a grieving widow, maybe it happened at 3 a.m. in the morning. Where is AVBOB at 3 a.m. in the morning? Are they able to pick up that phone call and answer?
Yeah, so we have over 350 branches nationwide, and we do work 24/7.
Okay.
On the funeral service side, we are available after hours 24/7, 7 days a week. Any time of the day, we are there to assist our clients and grieving families because they are going through the most, as you said, by Goa, and we are there to hold their hand and lead them on what needs to happen and how it needs to happen. Yeah.
You know, in many families, and I don't know if your situation was different, Lindiwe, you know, with couples, Ubaba maybe might not talk about what policies they have in place. So a lot of families don't know if they've got to AVBOB or any policy in place. So if in that situation, how can AVBOB help a family navigate that in terms of finding out if there's a policy in place that can assist them?
Okay. So with our processes and systems, we can check if you do have a policy with us with your ID number. Then the process starts happening from there. And we also do assist non-policy holders, which now we call them private clients, and we treat them the same as our policy holders. The standard of service is the same. The way the arrangements are done and everything it's basically the same. We are just there to hold their hands, guide them, because at the time you are grieving, your mindset is not in the right place. That's when we come in to hold your hand throughout the process, to be there for you.
I think you've alluded a little bit to it in terms of the assistance that you can give, but maybe you can tell me what specific help with funeral arrangements and just the first 48 hours, what kind of help does AVBOB give to the family?
Okay. So the process basically starts when you visit our offices, where we have what we call arrangement officers, which then go through the funeral arrangements with the family. So there are many factors that come into place at that moment. As Umama said, the death certificate is one of the important aspects because people need to claim from other companies and stuff like that. And then you are certain also where do you want to bury the loved one. Like Umama said, we all have different cultures, choices. In some cases, you might pass away in Johannesburg, but to be buried in Eastern Cape, Western Cape. Then the grave is arranged that side, which is one of the important things. And what would you want or love to have on that day, because it's a celebration of life, how would you want things to happen? What would you like to have? What type of flowers do you want? What type of tent or chairs or family cars and all those stuff which we offer. We basically give you options that you can choose from, and not necessarily to make a decision at that point. You can go back, consult with other family members, and then find that the loved one loved green flowers, or the color green meant something to them, and we work along those lines to what can we create that would center around the color green that would the family would love to have. And then the process gets going, and that's, I think, the first 48 hours.
Yeah. And Lindiwe had to go to Home Affairs herself. I mean, there's lots of documentation that takes place in terms of having lost a loved one. What are some of the help that you offer with that documentation?
So as soon as we have what is required, the deceased ID and all the other documents, we actually go to Home Affairs on their behalf. The family doesn't have to. In some cases, they want to be there or they are there, but it's our responsibility for us to do that process for the family as the service provider. The family might not know what to have or bring or whatever, but we guide them on what's needed, but we lead the process. We go to Home Affairs and we ensure that the process is done, the documents are submitted on their behalf. So the family doesn't have to. It's unfortunate in your case it happened. We all remember during those times a lot happened, and I so wish that never happens again. Also, from a personal point of view, it wasn't the nicest of times. And that's why we are there to guide, to lead, and ensure that everything is done. Whether you're African, you're white, it doesn't matter. We are there to hold each and everyone's hand. That's what we do.
That's really great, because it's important to get that help when you're grieving. Now, this show is being shown to everyone across South Africa, and some people are in an area that's maybe rural, not close to a city. How do people get to AVBOB when they're living in an area that might not have an AVBOB office nearby?
Okay, so our branches are strategically placed nationwide. There's very, very few areas in South Africa where there's no AVBOB network or branch. The client can contact our call center, and then they will ascertain their address or where they stay. Then they will direct them to the nearest AVBOB branch. So, I mean, over 300 branches, it's almost impossible not to have a footprint within South Africa. So wherever you are, we will find you and assist you and accommodate everyone. That's our footprint can allow us to actually do that.
So in closing, we've heard from Uputwase AVBOB about some of the help they've offered to grieving families. What maybe one thing that you've picked up that would have been very helpful for you when you were in that process, the first 48 hours, trying to navigate the grief and making the funeral arrangements?
The fact that they operate 24/7, that's a relief, because I don't have to wait for 8 o'clock in the morning while the hospital is pressurizing me, come and get the body. And also the matter of going to Home Affairs. I would understand at that time, because I wanted to bury, and they were not allowed to go to Home Affairs to get the certificate. But those two, for me, really, at that time, the hospital is saying, come and get the body. But I can't carry the body in my own car. So when the people that needs to carry the body, they are available 24/7, that's a huge relief. That's a huge relief. We can sort out the paperwork. They'll sort out the paperwork. They must just get the body. So, it's a huge relief.
And Buti, what are some of the things we've heard, Sis Lindiwe was talking about her challenges. maybe some of the things that you feel that AVBOB could have made it easier for her?
Okay. I think in this case, what we went through at that time, I mean, everyone, all undertakers included, was the most difficult time, and there were challenges that we all faced, but also that did not have to get to a point where we lose customer focus. You understand? Because we no one knows when someone will pass away, at what time, at what moment, and that's why we are there 365, 24/7, because it's our duty and responsibility to assist, help, guide, and hold your hand, because that is the most difficult time one can ever go through. I can still remember when my father passed away. I was still very young, but I could still remember my mother's face when they told him, how she reacted. And now that I'm in the industry, it also it takes you back to be empathetic, to be there for your customers, for your client, because that's our core business. That's what we are there for. Being there at that moment matters a lot, because it sort of eases the pain a bit, not to say it takes it away, but you just make life a little bit easier for families that are grieving, because it's a shock to all of us, to everyone. So being there really helps a lot. It does, yeah.
Siyabonga kakhulu, Lindiwe. We thank you for your honesty, your grace. We thank you for turning your pain into something that will carry another woman through her darkest moment. And to you, Babusi, from AVBOB, thank you for reminding us that in those moments, you do not have to be alone. Help is just a phone call away, any hour of the day or night. If you are going through this right now, if you want to be prepared so that your family never faces that uncertainty, please reach out to AVBOB. Their 24/7 call center is always open. Their teams are trained not just to process the paperwork, but to treat you like a human being who's hurting. We'll see you on the next episode. Until then, take care of yourself, lean in on your people, and remember, you are stronger than the first 48 hours. I'm Nomfundo. Thank you for watching.